Just got back Friday night from my second trip to the U.S.-Mexico border in 4 months. This time we were in Nogales, Mexico, and Arizona. Nogales is the only city that's half in Mexico and half in the United States. And then several other towns along the New Mexico and Texas border. We were very busy visiting ministries from your church and my church, the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is exploding and growing, and it's very young. The average age of most of these parishes is 27 years old. It's young people, and it's young people being led by older nuns, courageous older nuns. This section of the church, by and large, knows about nuns in habits with rulers, hitting people on their knuckles. This part of the church might not have ever met a nun. But let me just tell you, these are some of the most courageous women I've ever met in my life. I didn't see one habit. They're all dressed like normal people, but they are doing extraordinary work. So these ministries, based on a lot of the complexities at the border, my trip this time reaffirmed some things that I saw the previous time. For the church, there is no border. For our Catholic Church, your church, and my church, there's no border. It's ministries and parishes reaching out to people with all kinds of needs. The border has its own set of complexities, but beside that, it's ministries that are welcoming strangers, reaching out to people in need, feeding people. We went to the Kino Border Initiative in Nogales. Last year, they fed 40,000 people, hungry people, looking for stability in their lives. We also visited the Sisters of the Assumption in Chaparral, New Mexico. 3 sisters, all over the age of 80, who have gathered 15 young people as lay associates in their mission, trained them, formed them in the charism of their community to do ministry. I was so impressed with that. It's religious women empowering lay people. It's something we take great pride in here at Holy Family. Let me tell you, these people are doing it unbelievably well. My sense was, just like my previous visit, there were a lot of people economically poor, but unbelievably wealthy in their spirit, in their compassion, in their generosity. In fact, almost every place that we went to, people told stories and they said, the poorest people are the ones who are the most generous. And so that reminds me of a statement that our Pope has made recently. We must not simply care for the poor, we must learn from them. I'd like to say we're a pretty welcoming community. We have a lot to learn from those communities about welcoming the stranger, about being aware of each other's needs. Again, we do a pretty good job of it, but sometimes when you step out of your orbit and you look at other experiences, especially the ones that kind of surprise you and force you to look at words like poverty and rich, It was an amazing experience. The Sisters of the Assumption don't have a food pantry. Their thing is clothing. They get all kinds of donations for clothes. And the sisters told a story about a young man who had a pair of shoes that didn't fit him right. And yet he didn't want to complain, so he's walking around and his feet are really hurting him. And so finally he says something to these people who are running this clothing place. And he gets new shoes that fit him better. And you know what the first thing he did was? Took his old shoes, gave it to the nun, and said, "Give these to somebody who needs them." And then he said, "I am so grateful that my feet aren't going to hurt. I'm going to be able to work a little bit extra. And the first money I get, I'm going to give back to you so you can buy somebody else shoes." We can all learn from stories like that. You all have stories like that. You're all aware of it. You've all participated in stories like that. But I really believe that our Pope challenges us not to simply care for people who are poor, but to learn from them. And so, how about this poor widow in the gospel today? What can we learn from her? Wow, lots. But the statement is that she gives from her poverty. She gives from her poverty. She gives from her need, not her surplus. So, to level the playing field, I think it's safe to say that every one of us at times is poor. So, can we give like she did out of our poverty of time when we just don't seem like we have enough time to do anything else? Can we give out of our poverty of awareness that we might not simply be aware of each other's needs? Can we give out of our poverty of energy when we just don't seem to have any left and yet others around us might be in need? Let's not just care for or be aware of this widow. Let's learn from her.